Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake of
technology increased, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovesi, and we hope you're joining us live today because we go live every single week here on LinkedIn and on YouTube, but you can catch the replay later on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But we are coming at you every week, Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, live. So we're bringing you amazing guests. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes or so talking about things that are going to help you level up. That's the idea of the Master Connector Show, which goes a step further. I don't know a lot of shows that do this, but at the end, you're going to be able to connect with our guests, connect with us, so that you can expand your network of amazing people that are going to help you, and you can help others get to where they need to be. That's what the Master Connector Show is all about. It's about connecting people. It's about creating those great relationships and connections that are going to help you move ahead. Because I know we have knowledge bases and then we have gaps between those knowledge bases that we need to get clarity around. And I love that word clarity, and it's going to come up again today. It's one of my favorites. We are absolutely booked for the rest of the year and into next year. If you want to find out who's coming up, go to masterconnector.show and see some of the great guests we have booked for the show of all different industries who are sharing their skill sets, their stories, their experiences to help you level up in everything you want to do. Go to masterconnector.show. And if you want to sponsor an episode, there's also a link there up in the top in the nav bar. If you want to sponsor an episode, you have that option as well. And look, Steve and I, we're two former shy guys, two introverts who overcame shyness, who overcame all those fears that we had to be able to connect with people so that we can further our opportunities. And I'm a connector today, but he is the master connector. Let's bring him on, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Robbie G? I got to tell you, being out there is still fearful for me, but we heard this years ago from similar mentors, right? Is, you fear the fear and you do it anyway. And so it's been wild and but a great journey. It's been great, having that journey together with you, sir. So just appreciate you big time. So what's going on, everyone? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. And listen, here's a question. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you stopped asking, why me, and start asking, why not me? And we're going to talk about that today. It's very easy in today's world to have that victim mentality. Oh man, woe is me, and oh this, oh that, and always blame the circumstances and other people and other things. But I've learned you're either a victim or a victor, and you got to go from, taking those challenges, and we're all going to have them. I heard the saying recently. I like it. It's lifes. Okay. It's like life happens. You're going to have stuff. My wife's going through some stuff with her family. Listen, you're going to have it, but it's not what happens to you. It's how you react to it. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how to, change your perspective. And as Rob said, we'll talk a little bit about clarity, but it's really, your mindset is the key. And I love, my mentor told me years back, he said, and I love speaking about this on stage, specifically, but it's like you wake up in the action mode. You can wake up, get out of bed and say, oh man, here's another day. Or say, man, I get another day, right? I have another breath. I'm able to breathe. I'm able to get up and do something today. And yes, it's cliche, but looking at the glass half full versus half empty, again, I know that's a cliche, but it's perspective. And I really want you, as you're listening to this, more than likely, if you're in that sort of why me mentality, my guess is you're not even watching this episode, this show. But if you are, I want you to have an open mind and really think about and really, allow yourself the time to really, give yourself some changes and allow yourself to open your mind and that ultimately will open the door that will allow you to have stepping stones for success, and so I'm excited to have our guest on here. So hopefully you are as well. And if you're on here for the first time, make sure you get in the comments. Connect with each other. Tell us where you're from, the city, the state. What area, what country, if you are for another country. And yeah, put in questions. If you have any questions for us or our guests, definitely make sure you put in the comments. But my man, Mr. Robbie G, has been, we've known each other for a long time, 27 years, and I am just so appreciative of him. So if you're ready to have him introduce our amazing guest, type in "Let's go," and Robbie G, I'll pass it to you, sir.
All right, let's go, everybody. Rebecca Babcock is a trauma-informed career and life coach with over a decade of sobriety and a passion for helping people unlock their potential. Through her customized and holistic coaching program, the Babcock Method, Rebecca empowers clients to break free from feeling stuck and find fulfillment in both career and life. With extensive experience navigating health challenges, entrepreneurship, and personal growth, Rebecca blends empathy and expertise to create sustainable transformations. She lives in New York, working remotely with a diverse client base, and shares her journey openly to inspire others to pursue meaningful change. Please welcome to the show, Rebecca Babcock. What's up, Rebecca?
Hello. That bio sounds good. It's nice to be here, gentlemen. Happy Wednesday.
Great to have you.
Yeah, listen. It's funny. We have all the amazing best guests in the world, and you're no different. And you have elevated us even more so. So we appreciate you, Rebecca.
Thank
you. And we all share that in common, that we're all Northeasterners. We're dealing with the extreme heat right now, but it's all good. But again, listen, you could look at it as, oh man, why is it hot? Or you could say, man, it's hot and it could be freezing, right? So
there's the opportunity in the heat.
Exactly. No doubt about it. So we're pumped to have you on the show here. So, hey, let's dive right into it. We were talking about it in the intro, a little bit about mindset and how important, how you think, and you can control, a lot of your actions through how you think. So let's talk about it. So the question is mindset. So yeah, community, type in #mindset. We want to, you're linked. We are on our show as LinkedIn participants, not LinkedIn lurkers. So get in there, get in the comments. And by the way, welcome, Samuel. Great to have you back on the show. All right, you ready for the question? So what's the first mental shift someone must make to move from why me to why not me?
It's a great question. So I'm just going to start from personal experience. I didn't begin this world journey being like, why not me? Life kind of, as you said earlier, got lifey. And by the time I was in my late 30s, I had completely left a career that I thought was going to be my career for the rest of my life. I was divorced, I quit drinking, and I had an emergency surgery to remove my entire colon. And I went on to have 5 surgeries total to rebuild my digestive tract. So I was sort of in this like, how many more things could fall apart at the same time? My career, my marriage, my health, my everything. And I figured, well, here's the choice. I either give up or I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not going to give up, really my only choice is try to find the opportunity in things, try to see what I'm meant to learn from this. How do I develop? How do I grow? And I will say that the cornerstone to that was, how can I be of service to others through my experience? And that will shift your mindset in a millisecond.
Love that. Yeah, it's interesting, right? So, and some of our community knows, I have dealt with for years dyslexia, and I think we shared it in the green room that you have it also, Rebecca. And I feel like dyslexia, I hope it's okay I said that publicly, but yeah, but it's really been a blessing. That curse, if you will, has been a blessing, because it's allowed me the ability to creative problem solve and just be a different kind of thinker. Because what happened was, I realized I didn't learn the way the average person did. And so I had to kind of figure out different interesting ways. And still to this day, I can't read instructions. So I figured it out. And occasionally when I do the IKEA furniture stuff, I'll leave a part out and, maybe it doesn't last as long as it's supposed to. Rob is laughing at me because he's not like that. I bet you he's exactly the opposite. But I just sort of, it's some like those kind of things I wing it. So, but it's fun and it's an adventure. And why not? Right. So anyway,
before we move on, Steve, I want to ask Rebecca something, because she said something there that I think is just implied. And we got a lot of people, especially myself, because I came a long way. I was very fearful as a young adult. And you said something, Rebecca. You said, when everything seemed to be falling apart in your life, you were like, well, what am I going to do? And I think that's a moment of truth. What made you fight and claw ahead instead of what a lot of people do, fall into that victim mentality and just say, well, it's just happening to me and that's my life. What made you go the other way?
So I've always been very driven. I've always, graduated magna cum laude from Vanderbilt. And my first job, I worked at Vogue magazine, and I had a lot of hustle and a lot of ambition. And the thing that really changed was taking that ambition that had been outward facing. I want a new job. I want to make more money. I want to win. And I started to be like, no, this is my life now. This is literally my livelihood. And so what can sometimes be seen as a downside, let's say, of being really driven, was the thing that really kept me from going, well, I could just go on disability and crawl into a hole somewhere and my life could be over. I'd worked too hard to get too far to realize, look, the things I was driving and striving for weren't the things that were giving me fulfillment and joy that I thought would. But it was almost like, I remember way back in college, I had an internship and I didn't enjoy it. And someone said, that's a blessing, because to know what you don't want to do means you can do something else. So, I kind of realized, maybe younger than other people, I hit a wall and it was like, all right, poor me, why me? Or let's go. I have just as much of a reason to exist and take up space on the planet Earth as anybody else.
Yeah. And I want to kind of go back a little bit. Part of what you said was about, looking to people and being people focused. And, a lot of the topic here is on empowerment, right? So why not me, right? And, taking action. And, Rob knows this about me. We've known a long time. If it's to be, it's up to me. And that worked for a while. But then I learned that there's only so much you can do by yourself.
There you go.
You need to have people in your life if you really want to succeed. And initially I was like, I don't want people. I don't need them. I just need to, yeah. But like you, very driven. Rob's saying, right? We're just driven people, but ultimately to really get to the next level. And then once I realized from a tactical perspective, I needed to have people and be able to work with people, I started to realize how amazingly fulfilling it was to work with people and to actually help people and see the joy in their eyes, light up when things start to come together. So there's really for me, I've learned a major fulfillment in that as part of my life's mission, which is to be the light. So
right. And
you bringing that out. Yeah.
One of the things that I know people often ask is like, well, what's the mistake that people generally make? And I think the biggest mistake people make is to think they've got to do it on their own.
Yeah, that's crucial. And a lot of what we're speaking about, Rebecca, is being aware, self-awareness, and that's a big buzz today. We hear a lot about. So I want to talk about awareness a little bit. So community, type in #awareness. What are the most common mistakes people make when they're stuck in that sort of victim mindset? Isolating.
We basically just said it, but I'll hear people that'll say the job market's terrible. And I'm like, is it? Who's telling you that? So who, your vibe attracts your tribe. Like what's the media that you're engaging with, the social media, the news, the friends, what are the people around you saying? Do they have a growth mindset or do they have a stuck mindset? Is everything terrible now? Is the world coming to an end, or is there opportunity? If you look at COVID times, there were some people that said, this is my chance to make $1 billion. I'm going to make antibacterial gel or whatever it was. Whenever there's tragedy, there's also huge opportunity. Yeah. So who you surround yourself with really matters.
Yeah. The books, a couple books from, I love books nowadays, even though I was dyslexic, thank God for Audible, because I'm able to read and listen to a lot of books. But Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? In every adversity lies a seed of equal or greater benefit, right? And then you mentioned growth mindset and fixed mindset. Great book is Mindset by, I think it's Carol Dweck, and kind of breaks down what that mindset, those two different kinds of polar opposite mindsets are. And I think there was a period where I was more on the fixed mindset, but have learned to kind of move into that other quadrant.
And I want to just interject something here, because I think there's a nugget in there that people generally don't think about. And there's a confusion between, we talk about our mindset and we talk about, positive. It's up to be, if it's to be, it's up to me, things like that. And there's this idea that if you just just remain very positive, that everything's going to come your way. And I found that to not be true.
That is not true.
Because what I was missing in my journey in learning was that optimism and positivity are very different things. Optimism is being, yes, positive, but open-minded to opportunity, because while I'm being happy and positive, opportunity was going by me, but I couldn't see it because I was just like, well, my ship is going to come in. No, it doesn't come in, right? You got to go swim out to it. But, that idea of being optimistic towards opportunity. So when it appears, like you were saying, Rebecca, during COVID, somebody went, oh my gosh, mask business, the sanitary stuff business, and they took advantage of it. That's opportunity presenting itself. And that's what largely, I know a lot of people, that took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah.
You can't sit on the couch eating bonbons hoping that you run a marathon. No. Faith without works is dead. But I also think a key word is curiosity.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So let's curiosity, yes. So we were talking about success, and success happens, I've heard, when opportunity and preparedness meet. And so yes, you want to have be open-minded. We talked about that. And you need to be prepared. So that'll be a way of having that preparedness. But also it takes action, right? And you mentioned it. Faith without works implies action, right? One of my favorite books is The Magic of Thinking Big, which is Action Cures Fears. We were talking about fears earlier in the show. So let's talk about action. So community, type in #action. What's one powerful action anyone can take today to break free from self-pity?
Well, the first thing I will say is this is what I always say to my clients, do one thing. Pick one thing to do every day, not 10 things, because then if you only do 9, you feel badly, you didn't get them all done. So I'm sure you've all heard the expression, eat the frog first. So find the thing, whether it's making that doctor's appointment or having that conversation or scheduling that meeting, pick the thing that you'll know what it is. It's this one thing, if I do it, will make everything else that I'm stressed or concerned about easier or obsolete. And you can't do that 2 days a week and then not do it. But if you pick one action every day, esteemable acts are what build our self-esteem. So you cannot be in victim mode and in self-pity while you are doing things that benefit you and others.
That's a mic drop. Esteemable acts
build our self-esteem.
It's a very simple idea, but I've never heard it said like that. I love that. And that is so true.
And I've definitely experienced that in my life. Steve and I, we go back 27 years, and we started out together, learning this journey of entrepreneurship and your own opportunity and being able to really connect with people to make things happen. And, I couldn't move on for so many years because I did not esteem myself. I didn't think I could do anything. And so the idea of being able to do esteemable things is very interesting, because I wasn't able to really do much of anything until all my learning converged and I had the confidence to go, yeah, I can do that.
And it doesn't come the other way around. So it's by taking more action more often that we build our confidence. We don't wait until we're confident to take action.
Yeah. I mean, you do one little thing right and you're like, I'm the man, I'm the woman. Okay, just simmer down. Yeah. But it builds you up to the next thing.
Yeah. I heard you need to build a case for yourself to be successful. You need to kind of, and those actions, those esteemable actions. And, in my case, I started to fall in love with myself because I'm like, I'm doing things that nobody are willing to do on a consistent basis. And that really grew my self-esteem in a major way. Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the buzzes today is, holistic. I know there's holistic health, but I've also heard holistic success and, being successful in all areas of life. Right. My mentor has told me this for a long time. He's like, Steve, if somebody has financial success, but they have a crappy marriage, their health is failing, what is that? Right. So holistic success is key. But I want to take it to a different. So you may type in #holistic. But how does looking at your life as a whole, not just one challenge, help you reclaim power?
You kind of answered with the question. Your question kind of answered itself, but I would say yes. So one of the things that's very important to me as a coach is that I don't just look at career or life. When someone comes to me and they say, I hate my job, the commute isn't right, and my boss is blah, 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 I'm not getting paid enough. I'll say, cool. What's happening at home? What are your hobbies? You have a life that lights you up. And a lot of times people will say, well, once work gets better, I'll have work-life balance. I'll enjoy my hobbies. And that's not how it works. It's really that when you have enough things that you are joyful and excited about, you make time for what matters. So for me, the way I coach is we look at all aspects. I also have 9 other coaches who work with me. So if someone really needs to redo their resume, or they need to work on their finances or their health and wellness, they can do all of it, because I know from firsthand experience what it's like when it all kind of implodes at the same time, and you realize how incredibly interconnected they are. And if you just deal with work, but your home life is a disaster, or vice versa, we're only human. People might think that they leave their personal life at home when they go to, life isn't like that. And why would you want it to be? We are whole people. We should show up with all that we have and all that we offer. To your point, Steve, us dyslexics, like, we have special things we can do that other people can't. So we need to bring it all together. And so to me, holistic is really a mindset as much as it is a type of coaching, because if things feel out of balance, one thing affects everything else.
And I'm going to say this, for anybody who is listening, what Rebecca just said about that whole approach, the whole life approach, this holistic approach. There's a lot of people out there, Rebecca, that definitely still think into their 30s, 40s, and 50s that if you have financial success, well, you can't have a successful family. You can't be a successful parent. You can't be a successful spouse. You can't have lots of great friends, and that is not true. And I have found that personally to be not true. People need to understand you can have all of it. And actually, you need to have all of it to actually say you're successful, to Steve's point, because what happens if you make tons of money and your kids hate you and your wife leaves you? Like, what is that?
In a bathtub full of cash.
Right. So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to an audio. It was called Empty Spaces. And this audio really resonated to me, because he was talking about this exact topic, and he's like, how do you have, and I don't have kids, but I can relate to it regardless, because I do have nieces and nephews. And, when you want to get together with your family, a lot of times you get together as a group, and you wonder why you don't have success in relationships, or you say, ask your son or daughter, how's school? Fine. No real relationship there. And he said in this audio, he decided to use the empty spaces in his calendar to set specific appointments to get together one-on-one with his family, I have a date night every Friday. And so you have to specifically work on your relationship one-on-one. It's not just going to happen organically. So again, success is a planned event. And yes, you just have to plan it out. You're right. And okay, if you are going to work 70 hours a week, it still leaves you 30 hours if you want to do other stuff. Okay, you still can. So
may I add one thing to that?
Please.
Values. Everyone says, "Oh, this a lot." When you start with becoming who am I? What do I want? What's important to me? And then you build your schedule around that. Yeah. And how much money you have to have and all those sorts of things. When it's based around what really matters, because I can tell you every single person says, oh, I don't need to be rich. I just need to have enough money to do whatever I want. Okay. And they all think that they're parent of the year, but they're not around because they have to provide more for their kid than they have for themselves. At some point, you have to choose what actually matters. Mm-hmm. And again, that goes back to the community that you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. It very, very valid point. And, it's interesting that a lot of people, they that why me, I can't, but you can, you just need to, right? So anyway, so a lot of this is talking about kind of reframing our brain and kind of reshaping how we think, so I want to talk a little bit about that as we start to wind down. So community, type in hashtag refrain. So what's a simple way to turn a setback into an opportunity in real time? And I love that phrase. I'll go back to the question, but the phrase, every setback is a setup for a comeback, right? I think it was, I think the author's Jolly. I think his last name is Jolly. But anyway, so what's a simple way to turn a setback into an opportunity in real time?
Okay, viewers, don't get mad at me, but this is the honest truth. I thought meditation was for hippies and weirdos and people sitting on the top of mountains. And then I was told, if you ever want to actually be successful as an entrepreneur, your hustle is not going to be the thing that gets you there. It's going to be the pause. It's going to be the reflection. It's going to be the awareness of what you really want before you jump into action, or you're flying the plane and building it at the same time. Yeah. So I very begrudgingly got a meditation coach, and it has absolutely changed my life. Because it is the thing that I needed as somebody who's type A and a hustler, to really allow myself to let my neural pathways build new ways of doing things. Because otherwise, if I'm just going all the time, I'm just going to do what I've done in the past. And a lot of times those things didn't serve me. Yeah. So believe it or not, and if you're not into that, create some sort of a pause in your day. Go for a walk. Journaling is very, very powerful. That's when you can pick your one thing to do every day. But some sort of a built-in pause, because once that train gets going, it's really hard to stop it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something on the meditation though, because I was laughing as you were saying, Rebecca, that you thought it was people on the mountaintop and hippy dippy, and I thought the same thing. And to an extent, I'm still like, I'm not sitting there with my legs crossed, in an empty white room with my fingers going like. And I think what a lot of people miss is they think that meditation is that thing. And we've had plenty of people on this show who are experts and authorities in that space. And I would run it past them. I said, am I meditating if I'm kind of like you said, Rebecca? I go for a walk around my property and I go barefoot and feel the grass under my feet, and pay attention to the breeze on my face, the birds singing. And what's amazing is that is a form of meditation. But what's amazing is that pause, I get great ideas. I make connections in my brain that I didn't have before, because like you said, I've worked my butt off when I was in corporate and I was starting my own business. So I was working nonstop, and I made bigger strides when I did take a pause, like you're saying, to give myself time to think and connect the dots a little better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly right.
I want to just reflect off that real quick. And so I read it in a book. I don't remember which book. Maybe it was in a few, but it was a gentleman who was observing from a very far distance. It was an axe cutting contest, and he saw these two guys that were at it. It might have been the finals of this particular contest, and one guy was hacking away, whap, swap, and then the other guy seemed from afar lazy. He would do a little bit of work, and then he'd sit down, and he'd do a little work, and he'd sit down, and eventually he found out who won, and it was actually the lazy guy. And it turns out what the lazy guy was doing, it was every now and then he was stopping to sharpen his axe. He was taking a pause. He was meditating, if you will. He was reflecting. Think and Grow Rich talks about, and there's actually The Strangest Secret, which is another really, really good audio, where the problem with people today is they don't think. And it's just that time to just think and reflect. And so important to take that pause. So thank you for bringing that up. So we are getting to the top of the bottom of the hour here, which we could go on and on and on. This has been amazing. It flew by here. So I just appreciate you, Rebecca. But I know you have an offer for our community, something you want to, beside the incredible value you've already given us, but I know you want to give another offer. So if you could tell everybody about what you'd like to share with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So type of coaching I do isn't for everybody, and I totally understand that. So what I'd love to do is see, hey, can I help you? And if I can, let's chat and I can put together something customized for you. So what I'd love to offer is a free 20-minute call just to see if you want my help and if I can help. And if I can, 60 minutes to really be able to get into it and really consult with you on a coaching opportunity.
There it is. That's awesome. And what's the best way for our community to reach you? And by the way, I think there'll be a link in somewhere in the chat. There it is. You can also grab it here or grab it in the chat. But what's the best way for our community to connect with you, reach you?
LinkedIn is great. And I have a website, which is Rebecca Babcock Coaching.
It's awesome. Community, make sure that you connect with Rebecca. Rebecca, thank you again. You blessed our community, blessed us. One of the cool things about Rob and I, we get from doing the show is we not only have incredible guests and make great connections, but we get to hear great value information like the stuff you gave today. So thank you again. We'll see you in the green room in a couple minutes, but thank you.
Bye.
All right. Sorry for cutting you off there. Anyway, that was awesome. So, hey, listen, we just have the most incredible, guests. So if you're looking to see who else is next week, the 20th, same bad time, same bad channel, The Power of Starting Over with Lola Gazidova. I'm butchering that. Gazivoda. All right. And she'll correct us next week. But just incredible. I did have a call with her. She's an incredible lady with a real story that you don't want to miss for sure. And if you want to learn about some of the other episodes and up and coming shows, like Rob said, we're booked all the way out to a good chunk of the following year. So go to masterconnector.show. All the shows into 2026 may not be posted yet, but we're booked out. So just go there and bookmark your calendar. Make sure Wednesdays at 1:00 Eastern. You're here every week. But it's great. And if you're interested in learning how to be a sponsor of an episode like our friends Russ Hedge does, go to masterconnector.show. So, but I want to close out with a quick story, right? So, after surviving a devastating plane crash in 1971 that left her severely injured, Vesna Vulovic, hope you say that right, a Serbian flight attendant, could have spent her life asking, why me? Instead, she embraced her miraculous survival, falling from over 33,000 feet without a parachute as a reason to live boldly and purposely. Her story became a symbol of resilience worldwide, proving that when you shift to why me, why not me, you can inspire millions simply by refusing to be defined by your tragedy. Folks, let's not let the challenges in our lives define us, but instead find strength in knowing we are worthy of success and keep going so we can inspire others to press on and ultimately be that light. God bless you. See you next week.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.